Are you just surviving your shift? Or do you feel like you're actually living your life? We're going to talk about it. But first, welcome to the Break Room, a weekly gathering for Black women nurses who want to go from perpetual self sacrifice to prioritizing self care. And I am your host, Deetra Dennis, the self care coach for nurses. And this is a space for nurses who value, honor, and invest in their most valuable patient, themselves. If that's you, welcome in. And listen, if you're not a nurse, you're still welcomed and invited here so that you can pause, reflect, and be nourished. So let's get back to what we talked about in the beginning here. Are you just going through the motion? Are you? Okay, well, you don't have to answer out loud. You can say it to yourself. But today we're going to talk about more than survival, what nurses really want for their lives. And many of us, kind of are in that survival mode, just making it through the day. Survival mode is often described as feeling like you're on a hamster wheel. And the example, as I'm thinking and talking, is like the what was it, Dunkin' Donut, when the guy would get up and he would say, time to make the donuts, time to make the donuts. It was, initially he was all excited about it, but as it became mundane and doing the same thing over and over again, it just became just a little cycle again on that hamster wheel. But anyway, to keep it going. But the reason we feel that way, that we're on that hamster wheel or in survival mode, is because we're in a constant state of stress and activity. Yet it feels like we're not making any progress or moving forward in our lives. Does that resonate with you? And can we admit we want to get off the hamster wheel and embrace a life of peace, joy, harmony, and health? I know that is what I desire, right? And so research in motivation theory shows that when we connect to our true desires, we find the energy to create lasting change. Is that what you want? Lasting change? So listen, the desire is the compass. It's going to direct us there, but it is actually reconnecting with what you really want, not just what you can tolerate. Can we just get off of that one a little bit? Let's say that again. Reconnecting with what you really want and not just what you tolerate. And this is the first step toward thriving. And Psychology Today says that thriving is living and thinking abundantly, joyful. And you know what? It is a choice. It is a choice. So let's talk about what it looks like to transition from that surviving, from that hamster wheel to thriving, or to reconnect with your true desires. First, identifying what you long for. What is it that you long for? Do you long for the peace, the joy, the harmony? Do you long for that? So identifying what you long for. Number two, acknowledging what you've settled for. Just surviving day to day, or on the hamster wheel default. You start off doing well, in thriving, and then you go back to the default of on the hamster wheel. And acknowledging is the first step or the first part to healing. So again, this is for you. You don't have to share it, or you can share it with someone where you have a safe space to have that support. What we talked about last week, having that support, those who respect your self-care. If you want to share it with someone, but you can journal it. Either way, acknowledging what you've settled for. It may be a relationship. We're going to move on from that one, okay? But number three, choosing one small desire to move toward this week, to move toward thriving. One small thing, nothing too big, just something small. And the small steps yield great or big rewards. So, one small step. So, again, recapping how to transition, or what does it look like to transition from survival mode or surviving to thriving? Identifying what you long for, acknowledging what you've settled for, and then choosing one small desire to move toward this week. So, if you're ready to rediscover what you truly want, you know what I'm going to do. I invite you to enroll in the free masterclass from Superwoman to Self-Care. It really is, I'll say it was a passion project. It was really from my heart in creating it, because I know where I was on that hamster wheel, right? And being on that hamster wheel, yielded some things for me. I was always in a state of exhaustion, to the point of burnout. And so I knew I needed to get off that hamster wheel in order to thrive in life and not just survive, going through the day, going through the motion. So the masterclass is sharing a little bit what I observed in myself, my life experience, as well as what I observed in other Black women nurses. And so, again, I invite you there if you want to rediscover what you truly want, of your desire. Remember, that's the compass, your desire. So our quote for today, lean in for this one. And I'm going to lean in a little bit. You deserve to thrive, not just survive. Believe in your worth, because when you recognize it, you open the door to a life of abundance and possibility. Can I say it for you one more time? You deserve to thrive, not just survive. Believe in your worth. We talked about that a few weeks ago, about believing in your worth. You're worthy of self-care. You're worthy of self-love. So when you believe in your worth, because when you recognize it, you open the door to a life of abundance and possibility. So until we gather again in the break room, I want you to have a wonderful week.